All right, legends, happy Sunday to everybody. Let's analyze the situation. New all-time high, my goodness. Let's go Bitcoin. Absolutely unstoppable. Do we have a swing failure pattern from all-time high, or do we absolutely rocket to much higher levels, guys? Check out the poll. Make sure to answer your, on the poll basically. And let me know what you think, guys. Let's analyze all together here the price of Bitcoin, the different scenarios that could happen. Obviously, talking about the bullish, the bearish case. But most importantly, guys, we are taking a look at some altcoins, okay? We need to take a look at some altcoins. It's in our best interest because, yes, Bitcoin's hit all-time high. And for the moment, we've only got a three-wave move to the upside, guys. Right? We've only got a three-wave move to the upside. What does this mean? This means that we are going higher, right? This means that we are going higher at some point, right? Regardless with a larger pullback or with continuing formation here of the wave 3 that we could be in still, or forming a wave 4, larger range for the next coming days, and then another high eventually, right? So I just want to let you know that I did sell today as we were hitting all-time high. I didn't sell the top, of course. I've sold on the rejection. 15% of my entire spot Bitcoin, guys. Been talking about this for weeks. It was originally going to be 10%, but I went a little bit more aggressive, okay, and selling 15%. So I'm out of 25%, right? 25% is out from all of the Bitcoin that I've bought throughout the previous years, guys. I still remain 75%. Eventually, I did not buy any more Bitcoin throughout, the last 1 to 2 years. I haven't been buying any Bitcoin and, actually been selling. So I'm out 25%. But you saying that this is bullish, we should be going to higher levels. Well, it's a DCAing out strategy. I changed my strategy from previous cycle, and we are at all-time high. And, I want to DCA out, okay? Higher prices is likely, at least short term, at least to take out this high at some point in the near future. We'll explain that, okay, throughout the next coming minutes. Of course, taking out this all-time high was highly likely throughout the previous weeks. We were just very much discussing the possible trap situation of October. It definitely got bashed on that, guys, okay? We were, leaning on, the bearish possibilities regardless of what could happen in this zone. We are looking for new all-time highs. This was the highest probability as we were talking about throughout the previous videos, okay? When we started the previous videos looking at the bearish case scenario, we were talking about the possibility, of course, of forming a larger range before we hit all-time high. Hello, Crypto Legends. The price of Bitcoin has high probability in hitting new all-time high in the very near future. So we were talking about many bearish scenarios locally to take out 107K. We could not lie about that. That is live on YouTube. But regardless of what was going to form in this range throughout the last few weeks in September, we were looking for corrective structures to finally get that leg to the upside. This is why I still remained heavily in spot, being confident that the highest probability was eventually hitting all-time high, right? So let's go through the comment section and then we'll discuss what could happen for Bitcoin, why another new all-time high is likely despite whatever happens in this zone. And it all has to do with this three-wave move up, guys, okay? We've had a three-wave move to the upside, and we want to finish in an impulse five-wave structure or potentially form a larger flat to then break out new all-time highs, right? Very simple to analyze and discuss because we literally have this on the chart, guys. You can see it. So we'll be going through what does this move mean and what we could expect throughout the next coming days, okay? Smash up the like button on your way in, guys. If we do get to 500 likes, we will do a $500 giveaway. We will do a $500 giveaway, okay? If we get to 500 likes to a lucky winner in the comment section. First of all, we need the 500 likes, of course. So let's go through comment section. Get your votes in here, legends, okay? Bitcoin all-time high. We are going way higher in Q4, 38%, right? We get people very, very bullish. There is obviously the probabilities of hitting new all-time highs again, guys, just because we've got this three-wave move. We'll be going through the different scenarios in this live stream, but higher is expected, okay? With a pullback that's shallow or with a pullback that's aggressive, we do expect new all-time highs again, because this is unfinished, right? Lots of liquidity building up to the upside, but also we do have some liquidity building up to the downside, to the upside, sorry. Okay, you know, people are interested in shorting eventually. Right now, we got a swing failure pattern that looks relatively interesting, okay? If we close this week, which today is Sunday, it will be a daily and a weekly rejection from all-time high, right? Weekly close. So we could expect, you know, a retracement throughout this week. It is very much a possibility, right? Obviously having this weekly close beneath all-time high. So we could expect a little bit of a pullback throughout the week here. Will it be aggressive or will it be shallow? That's what we are going to discuss, right? Because we are expecting, again, to hit the highs. All right, so we'll be discussing the different corrective moves that we could form. We might just not correct, guys, and go to $130,000 in the next 24 hours if we do continue like this on Bitcoin, right? But we need to be, you know, obviously people not to FOMO in, you know, we want to talk about the different projections on the correction that could happen, right? So we can get positioned. I have to say that I missed completely this entire move regarding leverage trading, guys. You know, I did not leverage trade this pump to the upside. Did not get into any shorts. Throughout yesterday, I was explaining with the Legends community. I gave a Saturday update inside of the Legends Pro community, which is discussing that we have high probability in hitting new highs again, okay? Purely based on the movement that we had throughout Friday and Saturday. Just very important, guys. Letting the community know that, you know, there's no shorts to be taken. A lot of people are interested in shorts. I'm actually getting DMs on shorts, right? And saying no shorts taken. This movement looks extremely corrective, and we are looking to take out this high again, you know, potentially Saturday evening or Sunday, right? Because there's nothing bearish about this move. There is really nothing bearish about this move. Probabilities were low for a multiple 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. You know, we roll down. Preferably your second 1-2 does take out the first 1-2, okay? And also the second 1-2 did retrace to the 0.88 Fibonacci, right? Which is a bit too deep for a wave 2. And, you know, obviously you're forming some kind of a triangle or a sideways WXY to then only later on take out that high over here, okay? So high probability yesterday that we were going to take out this high again, and we'll be discussing the lower time frame later on in this video update, just discussing what was mentioned yesterday in the pro community to let the people know that we have a high chance in hitting that high again, which on the higher time frame, we still are looking for another high. This is what we are going to discuss in today's live stream. So make sure to destroy the like button. We'll be going through a few of the altcoins, because is it time for altcoin season, right? Is it time to get those rallies on altcoins? We'll be getting ready on some altcoins live, guys. Okay, so let's go right away through comment section as we do. Get that like button destroyed. We'll do a giveaway, guys, if we get to 500. Let's see if we get a few people in and do a giveaway, right? It is about time to do a giveaway. Long time since we haven't done one. I'm 100% out now, says the journey off. Wow. Yeah, just going through, we got 180 votes. Bitcoin all-time high. Shall we turn the music down? We are going way higher in Q4. 41%. People are feeling that bullishness. 41% is quite a bit, big, pretty big. People are feeling the bullishness. Obviously, if we take into consideration macroeconomics, right, and the dollar devaluating, inflation worldwide, Bitcoin's the only right savior, right? Gold is too heavy, so digital gold, Bitcoin. So, people are really realizing that about that worldwide. Pack your bags, we are done, right? Pack your bags, we are done. All-time high has been hit, right? 15%, very low, very low. People are, not many people do believe that this is the high, right? Pullback in October, then higher. This is actually one of the discussions that we are going to do today in today's live stream, okay? Pullback in October. The rest of October is without a doubt a possibility. It would actually be the healthiest and the most explosive outcome that we could have to get an insane rally, okay, to go to way, way higher levels, guys. This would actually be a healthy move for Bitcoin to go way, way higher, because the overall discussion on this is purely based that we got this as an initial wave up and this as a correction, which we haven't formed the wave yet, right? We haven't formed the next wave yet, and this would be actually extremely healthy to pack all of this as a correction to then really explode out, guys. It's just got to do with the proportion of the impulse and the correction. However, if this was the correction, which was I was not a fan of, guys, you know that throughout the last 2 weeks, right? I was not a fan for this to be the end of the correction, which it might not be still, which will be explained throughout this stream. But if this is the end of the correction after this 5-wave move to the upside, we have potentially right now a wave 1, a wave 2, wave 3 on the development. If we get a shallow pullback here and then we create another move up, we have a 5-wave structure. What is the problem after forming a 5-wave structure? You are looking for the price to come down. Of course, the most bullish scenario is this is another wave 1 and 2, and you're looking for a 3 to the upside later on. Let me see if you can. Yeah, okay. Right? That would be the most bullish. Okay, it could be bullish, but it could be very, very warning, because a bull market, you want it to finish in a 5-wave move to the upside. I was a little bit skeptical, of course, about this being the end of the bull market, right? It had the potential. However, when we had this corrective move throughout the previous weeks, we understood whatever happens here, guys, regardless if you take out the low or if you form a more sideways WXY, we are looking to take out all-time highs. And the main reason why was because of this. There was no solid way to count this as a motive wave, right? A 5-wave move down, not either a diagonal or just a normal impulse. Very 3-wavy. The discussion was ABC or a WXY. They both fitted nicely. If you have that, well, you eventually look for all-time highs to be hit at some point. So the problem here is, if this is the end of the correction and this is an impulsive move, right, you would expect at some point to create, a 4th wave and then a 5th wave. This has the danger of, that's it, guys. That was the bull market top. Okay. So yeah, of course we can correct down. We'll be analyzing this very, very carefully. If we do get this kind of choppiness and very overlappy structure, we'll realize, guys, high probability that we're going to hit the highs again, right? We need that information, obviously. So on the other side, the most bullish scenario would actually get a larger pullback here to form that ABC, right? ABC flat. It would just be much better to get an explosive move to the upside. It would be way, way better, because all of this would be one wave and all of this would be another wave as a correction, right? In that ABC flat. What does that mean? That means that this would have way much power to explode later on, guys. I would only be more bullish and more excited if we were to get this C wave in a running flat or a flat. It would just look much better, guys. Much better to absolutely fly. If we do get this, I would confidently say, guys, there is a good chance that we're gonna explode in this cycle. We're actually gonna, super cycle it is, right? Potential. But if we do form a shallow pullback here, right, in that, possible wave 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, right, and then we create that 5th wave, that's how you end a bull market, right, in a 5-wave structure. Most bullish outcome, correction to the 50%, right, 7/8 Fibonacci zone, very corrective overlappy structure. Then this is going to be awesome, guys. We're going to, actually, this would be very, very good indeed if we were to correct down. But this has the potential of moving down impulsively, moving up correctively, and, you know, really losing its peg here, right? If you finish in a 5 waiver. So far on the lower time frame, we are looking for new all-time highs. That is without a doubt. Without a doubt, we are looking for the local highs to be hit at some point, because we only have a 3-wave move up, okay? So there's 2 options here. We correct throughout the next coming days in a very shallow 4th wave, right? Most commonly in between the 236, 382 Fibonacci zone, maybe 50%. Well, 50% is already overlapping this wave 1. So you would expect a shallow range, and then obviously take out the highs. That's the most bullish one. And the most bearish, well, the local bearish one would be getting an aggressive, you know, 5-wave move down with the potential of taking out the lows, to then only reverse in a stronger, powerful move. Okay, and this is higher time frame, right? Higher time frame scenarios. Anyway, let's go through comment section. In a nutshell, that's what it is. Okay, that's what it is here on the higher time frame. We'll be going through lower time frame and trying to, you know, really get into, you know, what's going on here, right? What's going on? Let's go through comment section. Let me drop off later on, guys, in the comment section, altcoins that you have been checking out that haven't exploded yet, preferably in the top 100, which should be the ones that are getting the attention later on throughout the next coming weeks, right? Because it's Bitcoin first, then Ethereum, or Solana in this case, right? You know, some people say that Solana has definitely outperformed Ethereum this cycle. And then looking for, you know, ADA next, right? ICP, Algorand, Near Protocol, some of them that are, you know, have very, very strong fundamentals, and, you know, they are in the top 100 that have the potential to, say, for example, right? 𝗖 is a good one also that has very, very strong fundamentals, right? Good L1 blockchain project that hasn't exploded yet, right? It hasn't exploded. And you do expect the high caps to really take off first, guys, right? Low caps are really kind of the last ones that take the push up in the cycle. Anyway, let's go through comment section. Long time no see, legend. Sandmanner, how are you doing? KFC, much love. Did you sell 5% of your Bitcoin? I sold 15%. And I do expect higher, but I'm happy to be in cash right there. You know, you might think, why did you sell? I'm happy to have more cash. I've been heavily exposed throughout the last few years in crypto. I've made gains. You know, at this point, when you buy Bitcoin, you know, down at 20, 30K zone, when you do buy in this area, I kind of don't really care too much. I need to DCA out. I started DCAing in here below $30,000 very aggressively, and very aggressively throughout this pump. Okay, and this was, you know, this was very much talked throughout the channel, okay, in the last few years. We very much knew that, you know, hey, this is likely going to be a wave 1. This is likely going to be the start of the bull market leg, right? And we are buying up very, very aggressively here on this momentum, right? We do expect, obviously, 2023, 2024 to really start kicking off. And I don't really care at this moment to sell the top. My strategy is different this time. Okay, I did get caught in the bear market. I didn't sell enough of my Bitcoin and crypto, so I only had one chance to buy more, which was in this zone right over here. And, you know, this time, you know, I'm happy to slowly scale out, guys. I am 25% out of my Bitcoin bags that I've been buying in the last few years. That's my strategy, okay? You just need to be protected for whatever happens in the next coming weeks, couple of, you know, few months, right? And, you know, I'm still heavily exposed. I do see one more high. We'll be taking a look at on the channel, you know, the possible peaking points. For the moment, for me, this is, you know, not the top, okay? This is not the top. And one simple reason, which is similar to the reason that we had in the last few weeks, guys, this is a 3-wave structure. You know, regardless if you take out the low or not here, we are looking for new all-time highs. So I'm not selling of my spot Bitcoin. And the reason now is we have a 3-wave move up. So there's only 2 options here. You form a flat, then you go up, or you form a corrective move in a 4th wave, a bit shallow, a bit rangy, okay? And then you get another new high. So, we are looking for another new high here in the next, few days, give or take, maybe a few weeks, depending if we do get that move down here aggressively. But this would only be good, guys. I would not fear a strong pullback in this area after this swing failure pattern, right? We're probably going to close today the daily and also the weekly with a classic swing failure pattern, right? We know what happened here previously, right? You close, well, this one actually closed the daily above it, but it closed the weekly, right? So we know what happens when you test all-time high and you reject with a wick. This is already going to be a daily wick potentially, and even a weekly one, right? Well, today is Sunday, so it is going to be a weekly rejection from all-time high, which is a swing failure pattern, grabbed all of the liquidity from shorts, okay? And something to note is that everybody that has Bitcoin that has bought in the history is in profit right now, right? So who's going to be the last one selling? Well, we do expect higher based on the structure, but yeah, everybody's in profit, guys, unless you bought a few hours ago, right? Unless, somebody got into Bitcoin, doesn't know what it is, just new to crypto. I'm going to buy Bitcoin and bought at 125K. Well, he's at a loss at the moment, but most of the people, right, are in profit. And that is always alarming, right? That is always alarming. You have big institutions, big players that have been buying Bitcoin at much lower levels, right? And always at all-time high after a significant rally in the last few years. Want to stay in the safe side, right? So that's my strategy. Nobody needs to follow my strategy, of course, okay? But I'm just, openly saying this, right? We talked about it in the last few weeks. I was in between 10% and 20%, and I just cut it at 15%, even though I realized that we are going to take the highs again. So, but it's just my strategy. Hit all-time high, want to be in cash. I'm actually probably going to use some of that stable coins to buy some altcoins. Not much, maybe 20%, but yeah, we'll go through that later on. So anyway, let's go through the comment section, and then we're going to discuss and try and map a little bit of the situation here, guys. We're going to try and map the situation here for Bitcoin and talk about the different possibilities, right? We talk about different possibilities. We're never certain of a move, right? Never 100% certain, but we can get the different scenarios that could happen just so we are ready. So I can see Simon Jones was here. 𝗖𝗿𝘆𝗽𝗶, not much higher, 130K max, says 𝗖𝗿𝘆𝗽𝗶. Yeah, very possible. That would come with the idea that this is a wave 1. I'm not going to like it, guys. If this is your top of the wave 3, or 3 is not in yet, okay? Very, very straight leg up, guys. We haven't had any type of pullback here, really, in proportion of this leg up and this leg down. So, I mean, this is still straight up. My overall question right now, which I would not like a single bit, at least in the, immediate short term once this happens, is if you form a shallow 4th wave in the next few days, and then you create the 5th wave, like, 𝗖𝗿𝘆𝗽𝗶 here was saying, 130K max. This is when we need, I will sell another 10% potentially if we get this little range, right? And then we break out here, boom, 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 right? We form a bit of an impulsive move, 130K zone, we're climbing up. I might try and sell at, at the potential top, maybe, right? It has the potential. Something that is interesting about the previous cycles here, legends, the top in 2017 was in December. The top in 2021 was in November. Will the top be in October, right? A month behind from the previous ones, just because in 2017 top was in December. top in 2021 was in November. Oh my goodness, is the top going to be in October, right? If we were to form this structure, I am looking for new highs. If we form a shallow pullback throughout the next coming days, bit rangy, right? And then we do this, yeah, this will be alarming. Of course, it will be alarming because this obviously we need that movement down because it might be a very, very corrective structure, right? If we form something like this, but on a lower time frame, eventually, maybe not as steep, and it's extremely overlappy, right? And there's, you just move down like this. There will be no way of counting this as a solid selling pressure, right? Impulsive move down. It will look very, very good. This is where I would, potentially, buy back in, right? I wouldn't think so. I'm happy with what I got on spot, but this would be actually good. We'll understand that, wow, guys, this is it's just going to keep going. It's just going to keep going. But the moment that you get an aggressive move down and you move correctively here, right? Lots of overlap, like a head and shoulder, right? Like a head and shoulder scenario. Well, yeah, we are going to expect that leg down. And this leg down in a third wave, we don't know how deep it's going to go, right? Third waves can be a surprise that you don't know how high or how low they can go. They can go to the 1.618 extension. They can go to the 2.618, 3.618. When it goes. And obviously we know that if the market makers decide that this is going to be the top, that they are going to push the price down heavily. But you first have your initial move down, right? And then it drops. I mean, this is what happened in the previous cycle, right? Obviously, we got a bounce back up, but just so we understand, you do get that first warning sign in an impulse down, right? You don't tank in a straight line. So when the market decides here, right, 5 peaks right there, you can arguably discuss a contracting diagonal right over here. You get the first sign down. Very strong, very impulsive move to the downside, and you have the dead cat bounce, right? For that wave 2 that generally tops out at the 50% 7/8 Fibonacci zone. In this case, it was golden pocket. So, we will see that first sign of weakness, which would be a strong move down, give or take of 5-10% maybe, right? That's when we are going to be alarmed, right? That's when I'm going to come out on the channel, guys. When we get the bounce, we'll study it very carefully. Lots of overlap. I'm going to start selling, 20-30% maybe, right, of my Bitcoin. Maybe, we'll see, guys, we'll see. But this is when I got out, guys. If you are a legit follower of the channel, you know that I came out publicly here saying, guys, I'm out with only 25%, which was my, mistake. I realized the danger of this. And you're like, why would you sell only 25%? Well, I wanted to be exposed as well, right? Just in case, this ended up, in a 3-wave structure and then we get back up, but obviously we were getting a bit supported here and then we absolutely nuked. And I thought, it is what it is, right? We couldn't, nobody sells 100% at the top or buys 100% at the bottom, right? So I wished I would have sold a bit more. I was happy, obviously, with the gains. But this time, I'm a bit more aggressive, as explained today. I sold to 15%, even though I realized that the highest probability is to take out the high again here. So it's just a different strategy. My all-time high was get out a bit on the Bitcoin, right? Sell some Bitcoin at all-time high was my strategy. So yeah, I'm going to keep to the strategy that I have in this cycle. So, yeah, this is the thing right now, right? This is the thing. Will we have a shallow correction, which, potentially wave 3 is in? I mean, if we were to correct right now and we get another leg up, which we will discuss, right? This might just grind to the upside. It's just continuously to grind, right? Maybe your wave 3 is not in. We'll go through lower time frames and try and figure out if there is a chance for that wave 3 to be in. But what's most important here is the pullback. We will realize, right, that if we're going to form a little range without overlapping this pivot, the pivot one, if we are going to be ranging and bouncing and ranging, right, in this zone, we can really say, okay, guys, we're very likely forming a wave 4. Get ready to take out the highs. And after this movement, which can be an expanding wave 5, it can be very overshooting. You might get the FOMO kicking in this period, right? But that is going to be alarming because this is going to peak out at some point. And the overall question that we will have in this momentum is, what is the pullback going to be like, right? What is the movement down going to be like here? Obviously, this will take many weeks to develop, but this 5-wave move up has the potential to be the top of this bull run. I'm interested to see the 𝗖𝗍 indicator, which possibly is the moving averages are very, it's the only kind of moving average indicator that I actually like, guys. Okay, let's take a look at the 𝗖𝗍 top indicator. But regardless, on Bitcoin, we are looking for a new high with a big rejection or a shallow rejection. So we're gonna have time for altcoins. I think altcoins inevitably are gonna start popping, back and forward very aggressively. Let's go through the 𝗖𝗍 indicator. I haven't checked it, guys. I haven't checked it, but it's interesting to see. Let's go through the weekly and let's go with logarithmic chart. And let's get the 𝗖𝗍 indicator because it was actually pretty accurate on the previous cycles. We did talk about this on the previous cycle. And hang on a minute. Okay, so yeah, I mean the moving averages on the 𝗖𝗍 indicator top, they are very separated. Will it fail this time? Well, maybe it will, but it's been very accurate on all of the Bitcoin cycles to predict the top and the bottom. Guys, all of them, right? So it hasn't failed on a single cycle for the top or the bottom. You can check out the 𝗖𝗍 bottom indicator. I mean, it was a little bit off on the bottom here just by this last leg. I think the 𝗖𝗍 bottom indicator already flashed in this zone. So it's not perfect, but it's almost perfect, right? You would say, and it's very accurate. It flashed already the bottom back in. We can pull it out, actually. Let's just pull it out. 𝗖𝗍 bottom indicator, guys. Yeah, there we go, right? We can see it was off by a few months. And not, I mean, dollar-wise, about $3,000-$4,000, which is not much, right? It already flashed here for the bottom. Very close. Extremely accurate on the previous cycle in 2018. And also, wow, in January of 2015, it was like spot on. It actually predicted the wick low right there. So top's been pretty accurate. Obviously, in November, we had one more high, but it was literally a pump of a few $1,000s more. So it's been pretty accurate. And what you need to see on this 𝗖𝗍 top indicator in this case, right? We're not interested in the bottom. Is the moving averages bonding together. When they bond together is when, that's when the indicator is going to start flashing. Moving averages are extremely separated here, which, it's going to take some time. This needs like a blow off top for the moving averages, right? Because literally the red moving average on the 𝗖𝗍 top indicator needs big volatility to the upside because it's a moving averages which literally needs less days on the session. So once you get that volatility up, the moving averages, the moving average here in the red picks up very fast, right? But you need that kind of massive move up. Will we get that, right? Will we get that? Well, eventually, Bitcoin is bullish. Bitcoin, high probability to still take out the high. So we're just continuing with bullish market structure. We've only got a 3-wave structure to the upside. So there's only 2 options here. You form a shallow corrective 4th wave back up. This could be the top, maybe not. It might correct down, overlappy. We shoot up in a 3rd wave. If you reject in a 5-wave structure, absolutely golden. You got a 3-wave up. That means that you have a flat with high probability, running flat or expanding flat that takes out 107K. And we absolutely fly later on throughout the next few weeks once this is developed. And that's when we're going to get the absolutely banana zone, right? This would be the banana zone, because I would, literally based on this correction, if it were to be a flat, to really absolutely skyrocket, guys, right? So yeah, no topping signals yet, guys. Not in the pi cycle top indicator, not according to Elliott wave theory. We're still looking for higher in the case of Bitcoin on the higher time frame. So yeah, we can go through lower time frames also and try and analyze this momentum, which has just been absolutely ripping, guys. I was interested in shorts, but shorts were not taken. I explained also yesterday, guys, no shorts taken. This is not a good rejection. We can discuss right now this swing failure pattern. Okay, we can discuss it, and we can discuss the bounce that would be nice to identify. Okay, so we'll do that throughout the stream, and we're going to take a look at some altcoins. Chainlink. Oh my, I still have all of my Chainlink, guys, and I want to get rid of them. I've had enough. I was married to Chainlink, but I'm not anymore. I'm going to start, getting a divorce with this one. But I need Chainlink to get up here, which has high probability, and we can discuss that, right? Has high probability to take out this high at a bare minimum. So I'm just waiting patiently based on the spot bags. Let's go through the comment section, and then we'll discuss. Yo, Simon Jones, how are you doing, brother? Much love to you. I was shorted on toppest 1-minute candle. Absolutely awesome. Stay cautious. Be defensive with your shorts, guys. Lots of people interested with shorts, and the momentum is very, very bullish, and the movements down are very corrective. So be defensive if you're shorting this insane, rally on Bitcoin. ABC flat would be perfect scenario, says Sin Games. It would be perfect scenario to go to much higher levels. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. We do realize that this was a 3-wave move down in a WXY or an ABC. It doesn't really matter. Could we see this as a 5-wave as an ABC 3-wave structure? Absolutely. And eventually what would happen, which can be very scary, I mean, it would be ideal because it would be a scary move down, guys. We could expect a pretty scary rejection from here, which would only be bullish, right? But we have a 5-wave move down. Isn't that, an impulse? Isn't that a motive wave down? But when you need to always consider the previous waves, right? And this is why this 5-wave move down would not have the highest probability to be a bearish motive wave in a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, because you have a 3-wave move up. You have a 3-wave move up here and a 3-wave move down, which, obviously it all packs it in an ABC flat, which, as Sin Games was saying here, it would be ideal because this would only bring more power later on for the breakout of all-time high. There is that moment that you tap the high, tap the high, tap the high, reject, right, reject. And if you come back up, there's going to be a moment that it breaks out very, very aggressively, right? So I do not expect the price of Bitcoin to really follow through here very aggressively to the upside. I mean, it could, right? It could definitely just keep grinding here, guys, like we have been doing throughout the last, week. But it's low probability. I wouldn't expect it to, especially at all-time high, I wouldn't expect it to continue grinding like this. Expect the unexpected. I did expect the unexpected here. Right, I wasn't expecting this. So yeah, of course we could go higher, but it wouldn't make too much sense. So at some point we are going to see a pullback, right? Inevitably. Will that pullback be shallow, or will it be a steep pullback? It doesn't matter. We are looking for the highs to be taken again. So that's what we're currently looking at here based on higher time frame. Okay, legends. Let's go through comment section. Say hello to the beautiful community. The legend 𝗞𝗐𝗿, crypto by 𝗞𝗐𝗿. Much love to you, brother. Go and check out CBM, guys, if you haven't already. Awesome content. He posts every single day, different scenarios, charts, news, altcoins. Check him out, okay? 131,300 resistance. Is that based on extension, Fibonacci? Possibly. I like the idea of the ABC flat, says 𝗤𝗫𝗄𝗙. Flat, so can we count a local 5-wave move in the most recent move down? Yeah, we're going to go through that, right? Lower time frame. We could count a 5-wave move down, because what has happened here, and yeah, this is what always happens, right? You got a series of 1-2s or a contracting diagonal, potentially. We got a big movement down, a little consolidation and a move down. I wouldn't label this as the wave 4 and 5. It's too shallow in time. I would label this possibly as the wave 4. Okay. Now, if this is going to be the wave 4, I would not want to see Fibonacci retrace above the golden pocket. So preferably topping out. I wouldn't say that this is your 4 and 5. This is not it. The fourth wave is too shallow. It's too small. I would consider all of this still being part of the third wave, where the highest amount of volume. You need to see, fourth waves are usually the longest corrective structures, usually, right? More than wave 2. They're usually, slightly longer, same length or slightly longer. So I wouldn't consider any of this wave 4 or 5. I would consider this being the possible fourth wave, which if you hit the golden pocket, that would invalidate the fourth wave in an impulse. So preferably we claim this low. We'll go through this scenario right over here. But preferably we do claim this low again, right? So if this low is claimed in the next coming hours, whenever this is finished, then we have a 5-wave move down. Then I would label this as high probability. It's a 5-wave move down, okay? And the bounce is going to be incredibly studied, right? If you get that leg down, boom, 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 right? And you start forming this kind of price action, this is going to be high probability corrective. And we would be looking for a C wave down or a third wave, which could be, very, very explosive to the downside, right? So one more low is preferred to label this as a 5-wave move down, okay? And if you hit the golden pocket, then you are increasing in probabilities that this is a 3-wave move to the downside. And we're probably looking at the highs to be claimed again in the next, 1 to 2 days. So golden pocket is the sweet spot right now, which is sitting at $124,000. If we overlap that pivot, low probability that this is impulsive, increasing probabilities that this is corrective. At some point, we're going to take that high. But if we do reject below 124K and claim the low, it would be looking like a solid impulsive move down, which, inevitably we would be expecting another leg to the downside to claim this low after the bounce. Okay, so that's what we got. So preferably we do claim the low again. This for me right now is a 3-wave move. Wave 4's too shallow here, 4 and 5, too shallow in price action, too shallow in time. I would rather label this as the wave 4 potential. And if you do not overlap golden pocket and claim the low, then we do have a pretty solid count on an impulse. Okay, with high volume in the middle, perfect. That's what we like to see. And you know what would be interesting? Because this does happen. Sometimes it's tap and go. Sometimes it's tap and go. Consider the all-time high for the back test. Because after creating a swing failure pattern, and I would have this level ready on the chart, right? Previous all-time high. Just have it on the chart, because a bounce to that zone, I mean, would be ideal. Sometimes you create plans. I have to say 70-80% of the times the price doesn't do what you're looking on the plan, right? So that's what we try and do here on the channel, educate on the possible trading plans, because when you trade, you always need a plan, you always need an invalidation, you always need a projection to realize, you know, why am I entering here? Have a plan. Where's my stop loss, most importantly, right? And what am I projecting, right? What is the realistic target to take where I'm taking profits? Okay, so in this case, with this rejection from all-time high, right, which is this white horizontal line, it becomes a good backtest level. It does become a good backtest level, okay? If we were to claim the lows again, rejecting at the 382 Fibonacci, you can get one of these lower highs before we got the big volume move down, as your wave 2s, your wave 3, wave 4. If we were to reject here, you know, in between 382 that has been tapped already, or the 50%, to claim that low, then most commonly in a ABC three-wave structure, if it is going to be corrective, you do sweep up the fourth wave, right? It's very, very common after an impulse that your corrective wave gets below the fourth wave. Very, very common, right? It's the most common thing on a pullback to claim that fourth wave as a liquidity grab. So, you know, the idea here would be creating one more low, then this would be a confirmed impulse, sign of weakness, alarms are on, you realize that a lower high from all-time high is very much a possibility, very much a possibility, but you need one more low to be formed here. So the bounce is going to be the moment to have those plans ready, right? Obviously, swing long positions should not be taken up here. Well, I mean, you can. I mean, unless you know, if you're very defensive, you know, if you get into a long here, it could be a swing long. But, you know, be defensive, stop loss at break even. Maybe this forms a higher low and it continues going higher. But it's not a zone where to look for swing longs, right? Preferably you would want to look for swing shorts. But you need a lot of good information here to be confident, which I haven't had throughout the last few days. In the Legends Pro or in the VIP, guys, I was saying, guys, no shorts to be taken, at least on my side, just because the movements down were extremely corrective. Nothing is weak here. We're looking for the highs to be hit. We're looking for the highs to be hit. You know, there's nothing weak here. This rejection from all-time high has the potential to be a weak move. I mean, a strong move according to the bears, right? Weak for the bulls. If we claim that low again after this strong rejection, we can label this as an impulse once we have one more low. Now we can start thinking about shorts, right? Of course, you will have the very aggressive traders out there that just got into a short on the rejection from all-time high here, right? Which is this white horizontal line. That's always okay. If you are happy, you have a strategy, you maintain risk. As soon as you lose all-time high, once you get above it, I'm gonna get into a short. I'm speculating on the swing failure pattern. That's fine. That's the most aggressive way, because sometimes you might get below it and then you get above it. That's when you need to consider, okay, you know, it wasn't a fake out. You have stop loss here. Maybe you want to exit here already, cut losses. right? Depending on your strategy, this is the most aggressive one would be swing failure pattern from all-time high. As soon as we lose it, I'm getting into the short, right? Which would be this circle right over here, right? More conservative way with confirmation is the impulse, right? Is the impulse down. For that, we need one more low. I would not consider this a 5-wave move down. No 4th wave. And understanding the probabilities, the 4th wave is longer in time from your wave 2. So yeah, I would want to see one more low. Then I would say, okay, guys, today we're going to start looking for shorts, unless we capitulate. But going technical here, market gives you that opportunity sometimes, right? It gives you the opportunity. If market were to do this and then this, it's giving us the opportunity. The market decided to give us the opportunity. Sometimes you don't get any pullbacks, and it either rockets, like in the case of Bitcoin, or it nukes down, right? But many times it does give you the opportunity, especially in your first wave down, right? The problem here is getting in on the second wave. That's where your best opportunity is, because once your third wave, I'm not sure if you guys can see this. Hang on a minute. I'm in the middle here. Let me just clear the chart here 1 second. The absolute key is getting into the second wave. This is where you want to get in. Regardless if it's, it could be a 4-5 or it could be a ABC, right? This is the most interesting zone to get in on a trade on all assets, right? Not FOMO in here. Yes, you're gonna, you can make profits without a doubt, but it's in your best interest to detect the initial stages of the third wave, regardless if it's a C wave or if it's a third wave, right? That's where the biggest projected moves are coming in here. So obviously I am interested in shorts, right? That doesn't mean I entered a short, as I explained with the pro community. I've got a community that I need to let them know what I'm doing, and let them be, make them understand that they need to be defensive, and there's no shorts to be taken as there's no sign of weakness. Today we could get that sign of weakness. We've got a swing failure pattern from all-time high. If we create one more low locally here, it can be labeled as the first impulsive move down that we've had in the entire week on this rally on Bitcoin, right? No impulsive move to the downside whatsoever. All 3-wave structures throughout the rally that we've had in the last week. And this is the moment, obviously that I was saying, guys, no shorts, no shorts, no shorts yesterday. Maybe we're going to look for a short because if we claim the low, this would be your first impulsive move to the downside that we've had in the entire week. It will be the first one. So what would the first impulsive move down give you the possibility of? Getting a bounce and then move down on a wave C or a wave 3. And this is the wave that you want to be in, which could be this right over here. So yeah, we need that information, right? We need that information here on the chart. Claim one more low. High chance that we're going to get some kind of a bounce. Most commonly, you at least retrace after an impulse, at least over 78% of the times after a 5-wave move, okay? 78% is not 100%, unfortunately, but it's a pretty good statistic, right? That's, out of 100 impulsive moves, 78%, give or take, the numbers are not exact, 75 to 80 approximately, do retrace to the 382 Fibonacci. So you would at least expect a bounce to the 382. Then it goes down, of course. 60%, right? 65% to 50%, right? 60% of the times to golden pocket, right? But this is where you want to be really, really, looking for your trading plan. Okay. We do know that 78%, give or take 1% down or up, over 75% of the times it retraces to the 382. So you are expecting after this fifth wave down, wherever it finishes, that you are going to get a bounce from the Fibonacci high to the low to the 382 with high probability at some point. So you want to wait for that bounce inevitably. How do we get to that level? Well, I don't know. If we shoot up, right? Let's just imagine here, guys. This is just a masterclass session, right? To explain what we, how do we identify, right? The opportunity. If we bounce from the fifth wave in a very strong, one wave move, and we already hit the 382 in one wave, we realize that, this is probably not going to be the top. This is too strong. We preferably want to see a 3-wave move on the bounce. Just so you are aware, because, people would say, well, 382 is hit. I'm already entering into the short and I'm already, laddering into a short position. I mean, preferably you would want to see some kind of a 3-wave structure. So if you do get up here very strongly, even though if you enter a short here after claiming the fourth wave, just imagining that this is the top of the fourth wave, you might think, oh, swing failure pattern, absolutely awesome. Bang, right? We're moving down. I'm in the trade. This should roll over. We form a 5-wave move down, right? And then you get this being a correction and then getting one more high, right? A little bit of an inverted head and shoulder scenario. This is the moment that you want to be, really excited of potentially, getting into the top, right? Of that either wave B or wave 2. So, I mean, you can see that you need a lot of information, right? Trading is not easy. I wish it was, but you need a lot of information here, but that would be the sweet spot. 3-wave bounce coming into the golden pocket zone, maybe previous all-time high, right? Which is this white horizontal line there. And, you might think, oh, I shorted here. Now the price is against me. Well, this came too strong with one wave. You at least want to see some kind of a choppy 3-wave structure, which obviously with the lines here looks very easy, but it might be very, very disturbing and very choppy and overlappy. It could be a double zigzag. It could be a sideways WXY. Most commonly, you do form a 3-wave ABC zigzag, right? It's the most common, 3-wave retracement that you have. This is why we talk about it, right? But very choppy, corrective kind of price action is what you want to see, right? On that bounce after confirming a 5-wave move down. If we move up from here and we overlap the $124,000. It's a 3-wave move down, guys. So inevitably at some stage, you're going to look with high probability that you're going to claim that high. Okay, so yeah, just a little bit of a masterclass here on how to really spot the sign of weakness or not the sign of weakness, right? If we do bounce from here, we don't form this structure, and we do overlap the golden pocket, it's unlikely going to be a wave 4, right? It would be too steep for a wave 4. That's already an invalidation. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is too high. Yes, you could double zigzag down, but inevitably you would be looking for, another bounce back up. So yeah, I mean, hopefully we do get one more leg down. Could it be that, like I say, could this be the 4th wave, the 4 in 5 wave, right? It's always nice to look at a wave to be quite symmetrical, right? Quite symmetrical. And if you labeling this as a 4 in 5, yeah, it doesn't fit quite nicely, right? it doesn't fit quite nice. Too short in time, too shallow. You're not even hitting, we might have just hit the 236 Fibonacci. Yeah, almost scratched it. It's too shallow and too quick. However, if you put this here and then you put this here, now we're talking, right? Now it looks nice. Now it looks highest volume here. Now it looks pretty good, right? Here or here, regardless, right? It still could be longer. So preferably wave 5 is not in here, right? For the moment, this is actually chopping up very, very, very choppy. So it could have a possibility of forming a correction. Of course, you could have a B, C. It could have been a double zigzag already here. You're moving down. But for the big move down, preferably we do claim the low again, right? And then get the bounce. This is going to be interesting. This is going to be interesting of a bounce to really start positioning yourself, right? No financial advice, but that's what I would be looking for here on the shorts. Because I am interested in shorts. I've been interested in shorts for a week now, and missed the entire move up just because, you know, I mean, it was not that hard to get into longs in the last few days on these corrections, but you take them more as day trades, right? In, out, maybe leave some open, make some extra profits. But yeah, swing short does really look very interesting at this point, right? With that information that I've just given to you right now. Okay, the starting all-time high has been hit. You have different Elliott wave projections, which would be an ABC flat, or sorry, my bad, ABC flat. Okay, or you have the fourth wave, which initially, if you form a fourth wave here, you are going to get the first leg down in an impulse, right? You are looking for a 3-wave move down here. So, I mean, regardless if it's this and this and then this, right? So, yeah, we have a good chance that we could get this leg down here, okay? We have a good chance. Hopefully, it's going to be, you know, the flat move, right? If we do get positioned in the short, but obviously the lows are going to be a TP1. We'll see. This is something that will be discussed in the Legends Pro, how I'm going to manage this position if it is going to be taken. If not, we you know, we might look for longs if we do get a nice bounce here. If we do get a nice bounce and we overlap the $124,000, yeah, the retracement will look interesting to maybe jump into another long. Okay, so if we don't claim another low, we overlap 124K. Yes, you could back test the level and get a small rejection, but if this is choppy, right, VWAP will be looked at. We're probably just going to look for another long position to take out the highs, realizing that this is corrective. So this was like the other day, right? The other day we went live on YouTube to discuss this price action, right? And what was this price action telling us? The bearish case was an expanding diagonal, right? Because there was a way of counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in this movement down, okay, from this pivot. Expanding diagonals are extremely rare, very, very rare. They are the least probable scenario in a 5-wave motive wave, right? Contracting diagonals are more likely, or multiple 1-2s. Multiple 1-2s here, we didn't take it into consideration because your last move down here was longer than the previous ones. You don't preferably want to see that in a multiple 1-2. I think we had a 0.88 touch as well somewhere in this zone. Very, very steep correction. But it was either an expanding move down, low probability, or a WXY, okay, double zigzag, which obviously has higher probability when we consider obviously that we are in an uptrend as well. So, and then in this case, what happened, we got the first rally, we bounced out the VWAP, just scratching the 50% Fibonacci, you can position yourself here in a long to take out the highs. So in this right now, because we're talking about shorts, but we need to talk about the long as well, right? We are uptrending, you know. We have SFP'd, but understanding this lower time frame, 3-wave move down for the moment, guys. 3-wave move down for the moment. You bounce from here and you get above the 124K. Yes, we would be looking for some kind of a pullback. Will this pullback be corrective? Session VWAP for all of those scalpers out there will be important. Session VWAP will be important. I mean, it is a little bit high, but you can get below it, just like this case right over here. Got below the VWAP, reclaimed the VWAP. VWAP coming down here. If you do move up, lose the VWAP, reclaim the VWAP. If it is looking corrective, what we could be looking at here is your first wave 1 for then 3, 4, 5. And this was the discussion that we had the other day on Friday. We're looking for a third wave breakout here. I would not short. There was a lot of people saying I'm shorting. Lots of people interested in shorts, guys, in the comment section. But I let the people know very clearly that if lots of people are looking for the double top. Lots of people were shorting here on Friday, guys. I hope they are safe. I hope they're okay. I let the people know if this is a wave 1 and this is a wave 2, you're looking for a third wave breakout. And then 4th and 5th. So whoever's shorting the third wave, we don't know when this is going to stop. You never know when a third wave is going to stop. So yeah, this really broke out heavily from this high. There was no plan here. I need a move up, choppiness, and then another move up. Then I might consider, if we do have resistance here before hitting all-time high, to get into that 5th wave short on a level of confluence, such as a naked point of control, daily or whatever. But you need the third wave to finish. It's important that your third wave, after a correction, finishes at some point to then 5th wave. And then after a 5th wave, yeah, you can look for that movement down. But yeah, you can see what happened here. 1, 2, 3. Off we go to Valhalla in a third wave, guys. So it's important. In this case, we move up to above 124K. It's very likely that this move down has been a 3-wave move. Take into consideration that you can form a 3-wave down, 3-wave up, and then a triangle, or then a flat, or then a zigzag down to claim the lows again, and then up, right? But it would be in your best interest, of course, to consider long positions. If you start ranging like this, session VWAP, boom, reclaim it. It could be a good option for a long, because you could be looking for a third wave move up here to test the highs, which is literally what happened here, right? So yeah, I mean, that's a little bit what we have at the moment. Claim the lows. Very interesting to pay attention on the bounce, because it could be your wave 2 or your wave B. We are looking for a larger move down once this is finished, but we need one more low. You do not create one more low and you overlap the $124,000, which is the golden pocket from wave 2 to wave 3. Then eventually your correction looks interesting to analyze, because it could be just another 1, 2, 3, boom, 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 4, 5, right? And we just continue, guys. We just continue to the upside. So let's see. There is a good chance that right now we can confirm a rejection. Okay, there is a good chance that we can confirm a rejection, just because we got to all-time high. Right, we got to all-time high already. So maybe we do get the initial signs of weakness with that 5-wave move down to potentially go to lower prices. And there's 2 options here. There's only 2 options. We are looking for new all-time highs in the near future, regardless if it's going to take a week or 2. maybe 3, because the general idea on the higher time frame is that we've only formed a 3-wave move to the upside, which means one thing. You form a wave 4 throughout the next couple of days, few days, and then one more high. You got a finished 5-wave move to the upside, or you reject aggressively in a 5-wave move down to form your ABC flat, because you have a 3-wave down and a 3-wave up. But higher time frame, we do expect new all-time highs again. Lower time frames, yeah, we could get that C wave in the next 1 to 2 weeks, right? In a flat, or it might be a shallow pullback, okay, in a wave 4, to then zigzag down, create another move up to all-time high. You need to note also that maybe the 3rd wave is not in, guys, right? Maybe the 3rd wave is not in. However, yeah, I mean, at least this time, volume is decreasing on the breakout as we hit all-time high, right? The highest amount of volume is here, and this one has less volume, but I mean, that doesn't mean anything. I mean, it could mean that, I mean, you could break out with more volume later on. You need the first rejection in an impulse to understand that we could go lower. You know, that's the general idea anyway. Let's go through the comment section, guys. Smash up the like button if you like that little masterclass on, you know, trying to identify, is it weak? Do we go lower? Do we go higher? What information do we need to detect that potential long or that potential short? Use your tools and risk management accordingly to take, you know, any positions, right? Smash up the like button if you did enjoy that, and I'll go quickly through the comment section. I will let the people know how I'm going to handle any of these trades in the VIP, guys, or the pro community. Okay, if you are interested in joining the pro community, where you do have much more information, daily updates from myself and the rest of the coaches, such as 𝗬𝗍𝗍, you have join the community. Okay, you can see this link in the middle right over there. If you want to just join the VIP, where I'm just sharing the information on, you know, my trades, how I'm handling the situation, where am I entering, if I'm not entering, I'm just giving my information on the possible, my personal setups. Join the VIP is super simple, guys. You just need to sign up to Bluffin or to Weeks. Okay, you got the exchanges down below in the description. You get 20% deposit cashback on Weeks. On Bluffin, 10%. You get VIP 1 or VIP 2 depending on your deposit, and many different perks as well, which is obviously good. Lots of altcoins, Bitcoin obviously included in these exchanges, and you get the best bonuses. Okay, that's a way to get into the VIP, which I am sharing my information, okay, on my trading setups. Send me a message, okay, in the Telegram after you signed up. Minimum deposit will get you into the VIP. Okay, let's go through comment section right away. Only main active trade I have to say is ICP, guys. You know, I am long on ICP based on spot, and also on also on a leverage trade that was given inside of the VIP and the pro community. I'm just sharing, you know, I'm heavily on the scenario that we're going to create a spring point here with the potential of testing the low again one more time. Maybe this has been the low, maybe we test it again, but big volume on the volume profile here from this range of 22 and 23. Accumulation zone, Wyckoff accumulation, which I am heavily thinking about, that this is a spring point that we formed in the last week. Test the lows have been tested, time to go. If this does decide to really absolutely explode with the altcoin season that, you know, we are expecting from the 4-year cycle theory, when this goes, I expect it to really go, like go, right? Like fucking go very, very aggressively. with no pullbacks when the market decides that it is time to go after a large range, okay, testing the lows, large range, descending wedge if you wish here, lows, lows, lows. When it goes, it does not retrace like we want it to retrace. When we talk about Bitcoin, it absolutely skyrockets in a matter of a few weeks, and it goes, and you're like, oh, I missed it again, right? Everybody misses all of these different pumps and different, altcoins. And when you see a sign of strength, you want to see a pullback, right? Because, the general idea is do not FOMO in on a pump. Man, you could have FOMO'd in here anywhere on ICP back in 2023, right? You had a few days to FOMO in the pump. But you get the deal, right? If you're waiting for a pullback just to be a responsible trader, sometimes you don't get them. So sometimes it is not a bad idea to try and detect the bottom, which is what I've been trying to do here on ICP throughout the last few weeks, looking for that spring point. So, this is the one that's going to give me significant gains, hopefully, when we talk about altcoins, right? Because some people invest in 50 altcoins. Some people invest in 100 altcoins and hope that one of those altcoins is going to do that 100x. For me, I just need one or two of my altcoins to really make significant gains. Realistically, it's 3 counting Ethereum, but it's Chainlink and ICP at the moment. And yeah, once ICP decides to take off, then that's my altcoin season. Lots of people are very devastated based on altcoins because you will have your favorite crypto influencer, right? That's been talking about many different altcoins throughout 2023 and 2024. And most of them, not all of them, of course, if we take off XRP, 𝗖𝗍, and a few of the other big ones also, or 𝗶𝗍, maybe you bought 𝗶𝗍 in 2023, then you're obviously good. But most of them, generally speaking, are still at bear market lows or close to bear market lows. And if you've been buying render or buying all of these different AI niches that obviously had their hype in 2024, you are you're in a loss, right? You are in a loss, very likely. I have a bunch of altcoins that are in a loss, guys. I'm also inside of the game of having altcoins in a loss. It's inevitable. But the big ones, for the moment, this one I am in almost break even. If we do count the ICP that I bought at $5 range and also at the $4, basically catching the low here, going on spot because it was the plan. The plan was the plan. So I stuck to my plan. We create that SFP, possible spring point from here. It's either all in here or managing risk. If we were to lose this level, I would be happy to cut losses. But this is the clearest example of a spring point. And when we do take into consideration Elliott wave theory, you got an impulse and a 3-wave structure here that's bottoming out. So I am putting power into this. And this is something very similar that happened to Chainlink if we do consider also the 𝗖𝗂𝗍 accumulation. If you've been following the channel for the last few weeks, well, not few weeks, few years, you very much know that we talked about this 𝗖𝗂𝗍 accumulation on Chainlink back in 2023, where it did. Bull market, bear market, accumulation, 𝗖𝗂𝗍 accumulation, spring point, guys. The best lowest price if you wanted to catch the bottom was at $5 on Chainlink when it created the spring point after several months here. So, when we take into consideration seasonality and the 4-year cycle theory and Q4, which we are in right now, if this has to take off, this has to be the low for ICP, right? And ICP is an L1 blockchain project, heavily in AI. Just hasn't got any attention, but the attention comes when everything rockets. Don't worry about that. Nobody cares about ICP here. People care about ICP here. So nobody cares about ICP here. people will care about ICP here, right? So it's just really trying to detect that possible bottom, guys. Okay, no financial advice. This is just my personal point of view here on this one, and this is the one hopefully that's going to be that altcoin season altcoin that is going to give me the gains. But I'm happy with Chainlink. Chainlink has been for me. I mean, it's a 4x, not a 100x or a 50x, but you know, when you go heavy on a crypto, and you know, a 4x is kind of really good, right? If you invest $1,000, then it doesn't really matter. But when you start investing $100,000 or $200,000, you know, you're kind of happy with a 4x, right? So yeah, it really all depends, right? I know a lot of smaller investors, you know, they invest in maybe $1,000 or $2,000, and you know, maybe they have some gains with a 4x, you know, made 8K, made 10K, that's all good. But when you start investing heavily, right, 100, 200, 300K, obviously a 4x is like, wow, you know, it's like that's good. That's very, very good. So it all really depends, guys, on every investor is different. Anyway, let's go. Awesome lesson, Andy. Thanks. Much love. Wes, thank you very much, brother. Make sure to destroy the like button, guys. If we do get to 500 likes, which we can, we're over 600 people watching the stream. Let's go. We get 500 likes, guys. I will do a giveaway right now, guys, in the next, well, once we hit 500 likes, you drop your wallet, 𝗖𝗿𝘆𝗽𝗍 USDT, and we'll give $500 to a lucky winner. Okay, let's see if we can, guys. If we click the like button all together right now and we get to 500 likes, I'll do a giveaway of $500 to somebody. Okay, we'll do a roll here in the comment section, and you know, we'll choose somebody, we'll make him a moderator, and he'll have to drop his ERC wallet. Okay, let's see. I'm not sure if it will happen today. It has the potential. Let's go. We get the running or expanding running flat on BTC, says Suzanne. Suzanne with the technical analysis on Elliott wave theory. Absolutely awesome, Suzanne. Much love to you. Yeah, I mean, it looks very interesting. I have to recognize with all of you that if we form a running flat or an expanding flat, as Susan is saying, it would just be much more bullish, guys. It would be much more bullish. Then I would say, guys, holy smokes, we are probably going to go to extreme high levels. It would just be a quick flush, grab a bit of liquidity, get people in doubt because of the triple top on Bitcoin, right? This is it, guys. Triple top, bear market. Oof, this is not looking good. To only just move to higher levels with higher power, guys. So it would be healthier when we take into consideration market structure. So yeah, I mean, maybe it is nice because we are building up liquidity, right? That liquidity, you don't need to come and get it, right? But you know, you have a good chance. When you're building too much leverage long positions, the market automatically will get that feeling of rolling over eventually, just to sweep it up. So yeah, I mean, the liquidity is building up and is there. So a quick little flush to then go to higher levels is without a doubt an option on this higher time frame ABC flat scenario, right? With the overall idea that we add this contracting diagonal to the upside. Interesting scenario. So now it's really detecting that possibility of the rejection here, guys, in an impulse. It's going to be crucial because if this does form an impulsive move down, claiming the lows again, you got your 1, 2s, 3, 4, and 5. The market will only give you that opportunity, and it might not even bounce that high. It might just hit the 382, 50% Fibonacci. It might get up to the golden pocket and backtest the all-time high, the previous all-time high, right at 100 in. Oh my goodness, I deleted it from the chart. Where is it? Right, it might backtest it, but it will be the chance. If you miss the chance to get into a good level, the market will leave without you. And then, do I short here? It's weak. Your shorting zone is going to be this area between the 382 and the 78 Fibonacci, right? After that confirmed move down, maybe back test the previous all-time high. It's going to be the opportunity area if you want to take the shot. You know what we're looking for here based on the explanation today, guys. Hope you enjoyed that masterclass. Somebody was already saying thank you very much for the masterclass here on a little bit of what we're looking at on the lower time frame. Much love. That 500 would be mine. Baby Whale, much love to you, brother. $500 giveaway to buy ICP. Yes, please, says Jamal. Absolutely awesome. I am also thinking 107K. I am in short and take profit is 120K, holding from 125. Wow, you are a little bit of a cheeky top catcher right there. A little bit of a cheeky top catcher. 125K. Yeah. I personally don't see any short in this zone. Maybe the loss of all-time high. Maybe the loss of the previous all-time high could have been a execution on a speculative swing failure pattern, right? If I would have shorted today, the only kind of strategy would be the swing failure pattern, which is kind of entering in this zone, right? But shorting on the pump here, I mean, unless you have some Fibonacci, I mean, this is like, there's no resistance above us, so you need to start looking at Fibonacci. And unless you're looking at Fibonacci extensions from the lower time frame. But yeah, for me to get into a short on this pump, I don't know, guys. I didn't short anyway, so I need a bit of more information. But if I would have got into a short, it would have been in this zone potentially, right? As we'd reject from here, would have given a bit of room of stop loss eventually. But if you would have reclaimed already the all-time high, I would consider exiting, saying, yeah, it's not been a very successful swing failure pattern, so cutting losses here. But yeah, I mean, maybe this is it, guys. Maybe this is the rejection that takes us to lower prices. I've just explained what we're looking for. I'm going to be saying to the VIP, okay, just like the ICP long, guys, I am long on ICP. The shorted Ethereum very successfully, was interested in longs on Ethereum, but we can talk about Ethereum. But the only main long was provided last week, of course, on ICP, which is the spring point that was talked about inside of the VIP. And that's where I share my trades. I will be looking for this possible short or a day trade long to claim the highs, depending on what we do on Bitcoin here. Okay, very good information that we will get in the next coming hours to take a possible trading decision. If you are interested in that, it's super simple to join the VIP, guys. You got the exchanges down below. You just sign up to Bluffin all weeks. Minimum deposit, you get the best bonuses, 20% cashback on weeks, guys, or Bluffin. They're both really good with the perks. Minimum deposit, send me a DM on Telegram and we'll jump you into the VIP if you're interested in knowing a little bit of, how I'm handling the market and the next trades that I'm looking at. I wouldn't say it's a setups channel, but it's where I give the trade, right? Where I'm in the trade. The last one was ICP, looking for an epic swing long on ICP, giving the range, what I'm risking, just being a bit transparent on my trades, guys, there, okay? If you want more education, Legends community, okay? This is where you get daily updates from myself, 𝗬𝗍𝗆. I provided a video update yesterday letting the people know that there is no longs, no shorts to be taken here because this looks like a triangle or WXY. It looks corrective, and what we're looking for is to take out the highs, very, very likely at a later stage, okay? So that's basically what we were talking about here yesterday. Just education, okay? Education. Also looking, I do share my setups here as well. You got 𝗬𝗍𝗆 providing the information, and yesterday there was no shorts to be taken, right? So we're just sharing a video update. You know, this could be a triangle, it could be a WXY, we could sweep up this low, you know, but obviously looking for the highs to be taken again, right? Which is what happened this morning. So just because there's a lot of people interested in shorts, guys. I am interested in shorts, but it doesn't mean that I'm taking the short. And I just say it to the community, of course, right? So yeah, no shorts taken here. No shorts taken even yet here on this SFP. Well, there will be a sign. There will be a sign, as explained. There will be a sign. Top quality Andy, cheers. Very welcome, brother. Much love to you, Steve. Thank you very much for the super chat. I'll have a beer with that. Much love, my man. Hope you're doing well, Steve. Steve Power, another super chat. You gave me a super chat the other day, my man. Thank you very much. Shout out to you. Hope you're good. Hope you're good and enjoying the weekend. Abdul, sir, give me an entry point on Ethereum. Give me an entry point on Ethereum. Let's be a little bit polite. Can you do some analysis, please, on Ethereum, sir? And look at different possibilities, please. Give me an entry on Ethereum, sir. What's this? What are these manners? Sir, give me an entry point on Ethereum. Abdul Rahman. I'll be a little bit more polite. Anyway, let's talk about Ethereum, because I missed the long on Ethereum, guys. Hopefully some of you guys that were paying attention, you know, in the last few weeks, I only shorted Ethereum, guys, from all-time high. This is where I made almost $100,000. It wasn't that much. Still have that, you know, bit of that trade open here still. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Nobody cares about my trades. But I was very interested in longing, guys, and I missed the long, guys. But I'm in spot very heavily still. High probability that Ethereum takes out all-time high. Very, very high probability. We're going to talk about the potential pullback. If Bitcoin gets a pullback, where would it be interesting for me to get into the long? Because I didn't catch the low, right? This is like literally, you know, it doesn't mean that we can get into a long. Do I want a long here as a swing trade? Not really. But do we get the pullback? I do not know. I would hope to get the pullback, because what we are looking at here on Ethereum, guys, and pay attention, your wave 1, your wave 2 would at least get a pullback to the 382, at least. Very likely 50%. What we're looking at on Ethereum here, which was the general idea for the last few months, is, yeah, we are developing that wave 3 and we're looking for a wave 4. I maintained my short position and I explained why I shorted here. It was a swing failure pattern, 4-hourly candle close from all-time high on Ethereum. And looking at the projection of this, it was unlikely to break out successfully on this first attempt. It was already very projected. The idea was looking for a wave 4, and I preferred for this movement here to form an ABC. If you have followed the channel in the last few weeks, you know what I'm talking about. So where I was interested in longs was coming below $4,000 and, you know, in this area, this order block, 382 Fibonacci to the 50%. That's where we want to get in. It could have been super simple to just scale into a long, guys. Risk 1%, add another 1% if you get to 3,600, right? You know, would have been it would have been just easy to scale into a long, right, with just small capital if you wished here. But anyway, I'm heavily in spot already, so I'm kind of very interested in shorts, because shorts kind of hedge my spot bag, which is kind of nice. If the price rallies and go to all-time high, you know, time to sell some Ethereum spot, right? So I'm positioned regardless, and you know, shorts just become very interesting for me to look for, just to hedge. And you know, it was a good hedge on Ethereum on the movement down, but the interest was to long Ethereum here in between the 382 and 50%, because what we were labeling here this movement down is we do have a possible contracting diagonal here and a possible ABC move right over here. And I kind of liked very much the possibility of rejecting the value area high. This was all explained, guys, on YouTube. We'll go through the possible setups here on Ethereum, but you can see it right now on what I'm pulling out. So I would say, you know, the idea was, let's reject from these highs, golden pocket to the 7-8, right? I'm going to give it a chance, guys. And luckily I gave it the chance and I maximized profits on this movement down, even though I did take most of profits here, but I still had a relatively big position to make some extra profits on this movement down to claim these lows. This is where it becomes interesting to look for longs, but I was a little bit blinded on the possibility here that we could have formed one more low, and that's when I would have started getting in heavily. It didn't happen, so but you don't need to trade every single movement, guys. That's okay, especially when you're doing okay, right? When, you know, I don't care about missing trades. I know maybe a lot of you do, but I don't really care. So yeah, I'm kind of pissed off a little bit, right? You know, this was the zone to really be interested in longs. However, we got this movement up right now. And if we are labeling still with the general idea from the last few months, right? Since we created the wave 2, we're looking for a big wave 3. We're looking for a wave 4. We're looking for that wave 5, right? In the next couple of months to finish this rally on Ethereum. Where's the next entry, as somebody said, with not the best politing way, on Ethereum? A la Madrid. Much love. Y show you. Much love to you. A la Madrid, hermano. Vámonos. Okay, so Ethereum, we know how it moves, right? When you form a wave, you look for 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 4, and 5, right? 1, 2, 3. 1. Do we get our 2 here? Do we get our opportunity for all of those people that we did not catch the low, right? Because, I mean, it's literally catching the low when you're moving down aggressively. I mean, it would have been, I mean, it is nice to see that you swept this low at least. You got this big resistance, so you can just take the shot and say, this resistance is going to flip into support, and I'm just going to start entering here, or depending on your strategy, right? But this was the okay box to really start, you know, thinking of, it's time to buy Ethereum here or go long. And you know, this is what we talked about a few weeks ago based on the ABC. This is the box, guys, and the box it is. It was the high of the box, and we got the pump. So if we are going to form this wave 5 into Q4, a wave 5 is developed with 5 waves. Regardless if the third wave is going to be absolutely exploding and it goes to $6,000-$7,000, we don't know that. But a wave 5 should have 5 waves inside, just like this wave 1 had 5 waves, just like this wave 3 had 5 waves. And now the interesting thing is, yeah, is this the first wave of the 5th wave, just like this one here, just like this one here from the 3rd wave? Is this the first wave of the 5th wave, which we are expecting 3, 4, and 5 later on in the next coming weeks? Which is the best zone to see proof of support and start considering good trades? Inevitably, guys, we don't know if that pullback is going to happen, right? But it would be the most sensible thing to wait for, especially considering that there is a good chance that Bitcoin at some point is going to get that pullback and should drag the price of Ethereum and, you know, potentially some altcoins maybe, right? But drag Ethereum down. So we are looking for this 3rd wave to possibly finish, if not finished, to form that 4th wave, and then 5th, or form that flat. Ethereum is going to take that hit depending on that hit, because a double zigzag here That would be surprising, right? Where you have a zigzag down, and now you get this movement and you get a zigzag to the downside, a double zigzag. That would be surprising, right? Everybody would like be, what the heck is going on? I would look for longs here because this is not bearish. This 3-wave down and this bounce is not bearish, guys. If we get this, it's going to be a present of God for you to go max long, because this 3-wave move down is not, there's nothing bearish about this movement down. I wouldn't consider a multiple 1-2. Yeah, this movement up a little bit too steep. This third wave is longer than this one, so a multiple 1-2 has low probability to like really break down in a third wave. So I would be looking, there's two options here. It's either we hold this area, and if it breaks, we come down to claim the low, and that's max opportunity. Only we would come down here below 3,800 if Bitcoin decides to form the flat on the higher time frame. Only Ethereum will come down there if we form the flat on Bitcoin. If we move down aggressively throughout the next 1 to 2 weeks to form that flat, then Ethereum definitely has the chance to form the double zigzag, which would catch many people surprised, even myself. But it's still very possible. And this would be the opportunity swing long, right? A lot of people might think that this is the low. There's still a chance, especially if Bitcoin gets that rejection. It will likely drag Ethereum down heavily. So the other option is Ethereum maintains strong. Ethereum BTC chart does, get strong momentum. Yeah, there is a chance that we don't claim this low. So the chance here is speculating on a wave 2, right? To then get into the wave 3 possibility. So where can we bounce? Well, look no further, guys. You can see it. We do not want to lose the point of control value area low of this range. That becomes the barrier where Ethereum needs to hold. If you lose the point of control and the value area low, which is funny enough where the 50% golden pocket zone is with the choppiness, right? Fake out from that zone, maintain choppiness and wicks despite however you come down here. That's going to be your proof of support. That's going to be your possible wave 2 for your wave 3. And then, then there's no more opportunities, guys, in this bull run, right? We are looking at the last opportunity legs up on the bull run to really to get in, right? As swing longs in this case. Then it's going to be looking for shorts very aggressively, guys, because there will be a bear market, and we will be here to look for epic shorts. Right? Main idea for swings is longs at the moment, as we are still in bull market, right? So yeah, this would be the best option, guys. Bitcoin has a good chance that it is going to pull back either in that wave 4 as explained, and then a wave 5. It doesn't matter. If we do get that pullback of a few $1,000s, we will see Ethereum likely get that pullback also. Most aggressive is the flat. 3-wave down, 3-wave up. Obviously, Ethereum will pull back if Bitcoin decides to do this in the next coming weeks. Your first level of interest is 50% to the golden pocket, which is literally where we have the point of control of August and September. Okay, it needs to hold this zone. Get a bit of wicks beneath it is fine, but reclaim it. Okay, that would be the ideal. We don't know if this is going to happen, guys. We might just grind up here. But anybody that wants to position safely and to maximize on that good entry, good risk management, the best option is 50% to golden pocket area where we have this point of control, right? Tap it, fake it, have a 3-wave move. You look for the first sign of strength. This is a confirmed 3-wave structure because the third wave didn't break down. and we got this bounce. Oh, this is good. That's the reclaim that you want to get in. That's where you want to get in. Maybe stop loss beneath the low here. You realize that that's already okay to then, you know, absolutely rocket here, right? Third wave, 4 and 5, 6,000 Ethereum, right? $6,000 Ethereum it is. High probability, regardless of what happens here, guys, that Ethereum is going to take out all-time high at some point in the very near future. We got a 3-wave move down. We got an epic bounce here. Double 1, 2 here. Low probability because your second 1 and 2 is much larger in price action and time. Well, not in time, but yes, in price action. And yeah, it's low probability for a multiple 1, 2, which means that this is highly likely corrective eventually. This could be the low for Ethereum, but it could also not be the low with that double zigzag. Zigzag down, boom, zigzag down, whoops, right? That would catch a lot of people, but this would be... I missed this long down here catching the bottom. I won't miss this one. Let's leave it that way. I will not miss this one, okay? I will not miss this one. I can already get in with a lower percentage. It might not happen, guys. You know, maybe this is very, very, very possibly and likely the low for Ethereum before hitting all-time high. So best zone of interest, 4,300 to 4,150, counting the volatility fake outs, to speculate on that wave 2, right? To then inevitably get into that wave 3, wave 4 and 5 to finish the higher time frame 5-wave move up here on Ethereum, right? The best explanation that I could give you right now on Ethereum on the 4-hourly time frame, okay? And then you need to go zoom in on the 1-hourly. Obviously analyze the situation here on the micro counts, really just grinding up. Let's go through comment section. I don't think it will, says Suzanne. That's what I think will happen. You don't think what would happen? Ethereum going down? Yeah, I think Ethereum's low is in before all-time high. I also believe it. I do think that this is, but we need to go level to level, right? I do think that this is the 3-wave finished corrective structure. So we're going to have to really pay attention to the possible pullback here to get in, guys, because once the wave 3 is in, we should be positioned already, right? You know, that will be the last stages of the bull run already. And yeah, you don't want to look for swing longs once that happens. You'd just be breaking out. People will get emotional. You want to be positioned in the correction. Anyway, let's go through. Andy, look at it. Selling is almost exhausted. I think we are sat on the launch pad. Selling is almost exhausted, says my man here, Kolandulke. Sin Games, target 2 for daily harmonic is at 108k. Lows exactly. That will make the ABC flat. Yeah, I'm not sure what harmonic. What harmonic do we have here? I mean, harmonics and Elliott wave theory do go hand in hand. Not sure what harmonic we are looking at here. Maybe a bearish butterfly pattern. I think it's a butterfly pattern that you're looking at right now. But yeah, it would literally be part of the flat, right? Also. Anyway, let's go through the comment section. What are the flat targets? Well, let's talk about them. What are the flat targets? Most commonly, a flat target is getting above the A wave, which is this case. A wave, B wave. Most commonly, you take out the lows of A wave. Most commonly, right? The most common flat is an expanding flat, but for an expanding flat, preferably you do hit the 236 extension, which is still sitting a couple of $1,000 higher. Okay, this would be the B wave expanding flat targets. You can form an expanding flat even though you don't hit the 236 or 382. However, it is more common to hit it. Expanding flat target, we'll talk about it. If this were to be the high, just out of curiosity, guys, as mentioned, there is a good chance that we do hit all-time high, because of this 3-wave move, regardless of the flat or not. This could form a 4th wave and a 5th wave. So just so you know. But yeah, I mean, how cool is that? If this were to be the high, expanding target 1.618 extension is exactly where we have this low at $98,000. How cool would that be, right? That would be pretty cool if we do get down there. Expect the unexpected, right? As they say, expect the unexpected. But then the running flat is coming down to the 618, which is literally the middle of this range. The 0618 is the running flat first target, okay? Which is 115K. It could be a running flat. If you form a 5-wave move down here in the next, give or take 1 to 2 weeks, and you have a very solid impulse down here, maybe 115K is the low of the running flat. It is a target. And when you're in a very bullish market, when running flats are very common, are in very strong market trends, bull market or bear market, right? If you're in a very heavy uptrend and there's only bullish news and everything's bullish, Q4 for example, which is the most bullish Q4 that you have, in the 4-year cycle theory, maybe it creates a running flat. Running flats are common when everything and the narrative is very bullish, and then maybe it might be a running flat. It is common to form running flats when everything is so bullish. So the 0618 is at 115K as a running flat target. Most commonly expanding flats are the most common. And let's not say it's not going to happen, but let's say that it could happen. Technically it could happen, and the 1.618 extension is exactly where we have this low. I mean, how cool would that be if just in a matter of 2-3 weeks we get down there, guys? Holy smokes. It would be very, very bullish eventually, just to, maybe the cycle will extend and we are pumping into 2026. It's possible. We need to go level to level, guys. As explained today on the 5-minute time frame, we really need to go, do we have a 5-wave move down, right? And do we get a bounce? Obviously, I will be positioned in shorts if I manage to get in, right? And I will leave some open just for the potential, right? Just for the potential of the flat target, because it's a target regardless, getting below 107K. So, yeah, I mean, level to level here, right? But technically, it is possible. Target for the harmonic is 95K, says Sin Games, which is very, very, it's target for the harmonic is 95K. He says, I'm not sure what harmonic you're talking about here. Not sure which one. But usually on the harmonics, your target is the low of the harmonic, right? So if this is a harmonic pattern, your target is the low. But your first major target as well, right? But 95K. Solana, please. Yeah, a lot of buy orders around 117K. That would make a running flat. Sin Games, yeah, absolutely. Also, there's going to be, there's still a lot of buying power. People, it is the weekend. People are seeing Bitcoin at all-time high. A lot of, I'm not sure if FOMO is going to kick in, guys. When we do take a look at crypto and Bitcoin on Google Trends, that's another thing, right? When will retail, I think most of the people that are in this cycle, guys, are from the previous cycle bear market. I have that feeling. We don't have much new people in this cycle. So when will they come, right? That's kind of fuel to go to much higher levels. When will your When will your friends or old friends or, you know, family members start texting you about Bitcoin and talk about Bitcoin right in Christmas dinner? Will it be at 150k or will it be at 200k? I don't have many old friends or people, family talking about crypto too much. So it's like, it's kind of bullish, right? It's kind of bullish that we do not see much retail and much people in it, right? So that means that, you know, we need a blow off top. We need a kind of big push up. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. Most of the bank went all in at the low, lead by Jamie Dimon around a week ago. Should I long now? You need to follow your strategy, my man. Should I long now? It's a very, very good question. I'll tell you, I already explained where I would look for a day trade long with the current price action and where I would look for a short. It's explained in the first hour of the stream, so make sure to check it out. Anyway, guys, I need to rush out. Okay, much love to everybody. We're very low on the like button, guys. Maybe tomorrow we do get to 500 likes and we do get to a giveaway. My goodness, it's at 380, guys. What's going on? Holy smokes, we're going to give free money, guys. And we're still 120 likes down. We might get to 500 likes tomorrow and we'll do a giveaway. 600 people. What can we say? Anyway, much love to everybody. Daniel Singleton, much love. Staffer1. I believe a lot of people are lost faith on crypto. That's why. Very true. Staffer1, Sing Games, Daniel Singleton, thank you very much. Moderators for joining. Enjoy the rest of Sunday, guys. If you want to know more about me, join the Legends Pro community. It is the link here in the middle, as you can see. Okay, where you have education, possible setups also provided every single day. All right, very educational, most importantly. And if you just want to join the VIP, where I'm sharing where I'm looking for the trades and when I am entering the trades, basically, it's super easy. Okay, you got the links down below for bluffing all weeks. Do a minimum deposit, send me a DM on Telegram, and we'll jump you in the VIP. Much love to everybody. Enjoy the rest of the weekend, and I'll see you tomorrow.